So we've got a plus 1/2 equals negative a quarter. So we've got to solve this equation for a. We got to get a by itself, right? And so this is kind of like, just let's say you had something like this, you know, x plus 2 equals 5. By the way, what number added to 2 gives 5? Right, and so the answer would be 3. X would be 3, right? And the way you can do that with, you know, our trick of adding and subtracting to both sides of the equal sign is you can subtract 2 from both sides. And now 2 minus 2 is 0, and you're left with x equals, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So this one makes sense, right? And so we apply the same strategy here, that we want to get the a all by itself, and a half is being added onto it. So we need to subtract 1/2 to get the a by itself here, a equals, right? But if we subtract a half from the left, we must subtract 1/2 from the right also. And now we've got fractions that we're subtracting. We've got negative a quarter, subtract 1/2, right? So with fractions, we have to make the bottoms the same. So how can I make the bottoms the same? How can I get a common denominator? Yeah, you multiply. What do we multiply what by what?
2 by 2.
Right. So if we multiply this bottom here by 2, it'll become 4, right? And then we'll have 4 on both denominators, both bottoms, right? But if we multiply the bottom by 2, we must multiply the top by 2 also, right? So that we have negative 1/4 minus, and then it's 1 times 2, that's 2, and 2 times 2 is 4, 2/4. Does that make sense? So you have negative a quarter, subtract 2/4, right? Okay. So well, first of all, let's say you had well, let's focus on the fraction part. Here's a half, right? 1/2. I multiply a half by 2 over 2, and I get what? I get 2/4. And here's 2/4. Here's 1/4. See it? Purple. And here's the other quarter. It's red. See it? 1/2 of the circle has become 2/4. 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4, isn't it? 1/2 equals 2/4. Does that make sense? If you had 2/4, how much money is that? 50 cents. If 50 cents is 1/2 of a dollar, isn't it? Okay. So we're okay with the half becoming 2/4, right? So negative a half just becomes negative 2/4. Does that make sense? Okay. So now we have negative a quarter, subtract 2/4. Which is kind of like having negative 1 minus 2. What's negative 1 minus 2? It's like saying I'm in debt by $1 and now I need to subtract $2. What would I get? Good, negative 3. Now you're in debt by 3. Here I'm in debt by a quarter and I subtract 2/4. So what have I got now? Negative 3/4. Perfect. And that is the answer. Right? A equals negative 3/4. And if we check it, a plus a half equals negative a quarter. That's like negative 3/4 plus 1/2 equals, right? We're trying to check if this makes negative a quarter, right? But how can I change this half into quarters? What do I do to change it into quarters?
Times
That, yeah, times it by 2 over 2, right? And that'll give me negative 3/4 plus 2/4. What's negative 3/4 plus 2/4? Negative 1/4, right? Isn't it? Yeah, negative 1/4. Yep. So anyway, so it all works out because look, we have when I plug negative 3/4 in for A in the equation, then I get negative 1/4. Don't I? So it works out. That is the correct answer. A equals negative 3/4. Right? Good job. Let's see.